Let's go to the hate list and start with James Cook. Lawrence, do you have any concerns around James
And again,
Cook?
but before he gets into that, the hate list is not about, like, I don't like the player. It's I don't like where the player's being drafted. I don't hate players, I hate ADP. I hate value, or I love players and I love ADP. Again, every player has a value. It just depends on what it costs to acquire said player's services for your team. And so it's not that I hate James Cook, Lawrence.
Yeah,
I just hate where he's being drafted.
Yeah, but you have him at running back 15. I like him this year, but I think that's reasonable to be ranked at running back 15. He was a top 10 running back last year. That was with 16 touchdowns. You'd hope that a guy with 16 rushing touchdowns would be better than running back 9 in fantasy points per game. So the main thing with Cook is the touchdowns, right? We don't expect him to get 16 rushing touchdowns. We know Josh Allen runs in touchdowns. We know they got Ray Davis in there, Tyler Johnson. We got those guys. But again, ranked 15, I don't like that's solid. My question would be to you, Matthew, do you think he could keep up the efficiency? He's a guy that averages 5 yards a carry for his career, and that's kind of what keeps him. That's why they just paid him, even though he played less than 50% of the snaps.
Yeah, under 15 touches a game, less than a 10% target share. So he's not involved in it's really the touchdowns. Can you bank on the touchdowns? And so, he's an obvious regression candidate. I was telling my buddy Jimmy Fallon on the Tonight Show. I don't know if you guys caught the clip at all.
You know Jimmy.
Yeah, I know Jimmy. That's two. I know. I don't know Juice, but I know Tenders and I know Jimmy. And
Chicken tenders of Jimmy Fallon.
Like, what else do you need in this worworld, honestly?
Yeah, not much.
Honestly, is there anything better than those two things?
Yeah, just those two things, then love and affection. That's really set.
No, it's really and but I mentioned that to him. It's just like he could score 10 touchdowns this year. It would be amazing. It'd be great, and it would still be massively underperforming from what he did last year. Again, he's not involved in the passing game, and he's got competition for touches, as you mentioned, in Ty Johnson and Ray Davis, and of course Josh Allen as well, keeping it himself. So I just think James Cook, who was an elite fantasy running back last year, drops off.
Yeah, for context, DraftKings has James Cook's rushing touchdowns over/under set at 8.5. Right. 8.5.
This is a guy who had 18 total touchdowns last year, 16 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, so it's expected to halve, basically, is the median outcome.
That's right.
Which is tough to come back from. Breece Hall, Lawrence, who we've spoken about before, he's not had a season with 1,000 rushing yards, despite being basically, it didn't sound like he was fully fit the past 2 years, but he's out there, and he's playing all the games pretty much. But it seems like Braylon Allen's going to come to his workload, and so is his quarterback.
Yeah, I've been able to get out to some of these Jets practices, too, and it's very clear that they want to run with both Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. Like, literally, you'll see Breece Hall is going to start. But don't be surprised if you see Braylon Allen running out there the very next play. Here's the thing with Breece Hall when it comes to fantasy, right? Can he get it in the receiving game? And what I did see there in practice, they would go out there 7-on-7, put Breece Hall, line him up out wide, motion him in first play, drag across the field, Justin Fields hit him. Remember, they don't have a really top-tier wide receiver number 2, so Matthew, do you think if he could get those 60, 70 catches, could he kind of play up to his ADP in that way?
Potentially, but look, the argument for Breece Hall is that he's going to be Jahmyr Gibbs in this sort of Lions East offense that they want to run with New York. That's the argument, right? Is that they're going to use Braylon Allen sort of as the Montgomery between the tackles, and that they'll try to get Hall in space, get him the ball. So that's the argument for him. But the concern there is that that's a narrow window. Like, all due respect to Breece Hall, he's not Jahmyr Gibbs, and he's not playing behind an offensive line like the Lions, and he's not playing for a play caller that's Ben Johnson. I think the Jets will be better this year, but he's never been a big touchdown scorer in his career. Right. He never has. He's dealt with injuries throughout his career. And then you're thinking about Justin Fields, who is two things. Number one, he's also a threat to take touchdowns away at the goal line, right? So you've got Braylon Allen, who's going to be presumably their goal line back, and then you've also got Justin Fields, who's when they're on the 10 or 15, where you're hoping if you can get him free, spring him free, can run in the end zone. Fields can do that as well. So all you're hoping for is, can he, to your point, get enough volume in the passing game to be viable? And the concern there is, Justin Fields, at least throughout his career to date, hasn't thrown to the running back. like last year, Najee Harris averaged 3 targets a game from Justin Fields, 3.1 to be exact. That's the most targets a running back has averaged under Justin Fields, among qualified running backs. And it's just, so you're like, 3 targets a game? Is Breece Hall eating on 3 targets a game?
He won't if he only gets 3
That's what I'm saying.
No.
It's a narrow window. It's a narrow window there with Breece Hall in terms where he's going. He's being drafted. Sort of in this kind of mid-tier RB2, and that's just too rich for my blood.
Yeah, I think a good Breece Hall season, a season where he outperforms his ADP, is going to be dependent on just outlier home run hitting, that he takes these screen passes. And he can do it, but it's probably not the safest thing to bank on. A pretty safe thing to bank on at the moment, Matthew, is the uncertainty around Joe Mixon and his health status. He's out indefinitely with a lingering ankle and foot injury, and he makes the hate list.
Yeah, it's the same ankle, by the way, that he injured last season. He's got no timetable for his return. And there are rumors out there that he could miss significant time. Houston strike, who knows what ends up happening? I have no inside information on this. I have none whatsoever. This is merely just me looking around and trying to be logical. But, why wouldn't Houston call Washington or vice versa? And I think they could probably get Brian Robinson fairly cheap. He would make sense for Houston, and they're not in the same division as the Commanders. So I feel like the Commanders would be like, sure, Houston, you want to give us a 5th for him or something like that? And they do it. Anyway, either way, I'm nervous about Joe Mixon, who turned 29 in July, and from week 10 on last year, averaged 3.4 yards per carry. It's not an offensive line yet that I have a ton of confidence in. And the longer this lingers, the more you think, something just doesn't feel right. Bad vibes.
This is by far the scariest one. This is the scariest one by far on this hate list, because when you hear that word indefinitely, I couldn't go into a draft this weekend saying, I'm going to get a value on Joe Mixon and feel good about it because it's indefinite. So that's what I would say about Mixon going forward.
Okay, question from Timothy Martin. Does this make Nick Chubb startable as either a flex or an RB2?
I think potentially a flex if Mixon is officially out for week 1. I would think Chubb would be the starting running back.
He was the guy who got the run with the starters in the preseason game. He also looked, he didn't look like Nick Chubb, but he looked better than I think you'd expect. He was 5 for 25, and he was out there.
So I would feel better about him as a flex than an RB2. But yes, if Mixon's out, I think Chubb's very startable, especially depending on who else you have on your team.
Okay.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and Rotoworld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.